Good morning, students. So let us start chapter 2 of Indian Economic Development, Common Goals of 5-Year Plans. In this chapter, we will learn about planning and about 5-year plans. Although 5-year plans do not exist now, they have been converted into Niti Aayog or Planning Commission, which earlier existed in India, have now been converted into Niti Aayog. First, let us understand economic planning. Meaning of economic planning. Planning, as you all know, is deciding in advance what has to be done in future. So for economic development of the country, planning commission was set up. In a view of scarce available resources, they have been to be used in planned manner. That means resources have to be used in a planned manners, and we have to estimate what are our physical resources and what are our manpower resources, and these physical and manpower resources should be used in such a way that we should have maximum output. So there is a scheme in which all these resources are allocated and plans are made for development. This is called planning. So later it was although converted into Niti Aayog, but Planning Commission was first set up in 1950 in India, and it was actually learned by our first Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru that erstwhile USSR, which is present day Russia, it used 5-year plan as a tool of development in that country. Because as you all know, around 1917 there was a Russian Revolution, and after the Russian Revolution, when Tsar was removed from his place, and a new system of rule was set up in Russia, and it was called USSR, United Soviet Socialist Republic. And when Lenin started his administration in USSR after the Russian Revolution, a socialist government was formed in Russia, and they implemented 5-year planning system for development. And after independence, Indian Prime Minister was very much impressed by this system of development followed by Russia, and he had good relations with Russian administrators or presidents at that time, and that is why Indian Prime Minister adopted this 5-year plan. So actually this 5-year plan is inspiration of the 5-year plan of USSR or Russia. So later it was implemented in India, and from 1950 till 2015 India was also following this system of 5-year planning, in which a target was set for the next 5 years. So in 1950, the first 5-year plan, a target was set that between 1950 to 55 we will achieve these things, and in every 5-year plan one particular sector was given more priority. For example, between 1965 and 70, the 5-year plan mainly emphasized on agricultural development, and due to which Green Revolution was successful. Like this, in between 1960 and 65, and between 1955 and 60 also, industrial development was more emphasized, and that is why in the later half of the 50th or 5th decade, that means between 55 and 60, and then between 60 and 65, India achieved development in industrial sector. Many new industries were set up in the public sector when Pandit Nehru was the Prime Minister. So these are the methods of planning under 5-year plan. So this is what economic planning is, and a planning is done for the next 5 years in a 5-year plan. So how can we plan, or how can we define planning? Planning can be defined as a technique in which a central planning authority seeks to achieve definite objectives and targets within a specified period of time. while keeping the country's available resources in view. So planning or 5-year planning, which is done by the Central Planning Authority. So in India it is Planning Commission, or it was actually Planning Commission, which was dissolved in 2015 January, when the present Modi government came to power for the first time in 2014. And it set up, the Planning Commission set up few targets, and for each every 5 year they were revising the targets and setting up targets in different sectors of the economy. Now before understanding or discussing about planning, we should understand the types of economic system. Any country has to find answer of three basic economic problems, namely what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. These things you have discussed in class 11 also. So these are answered by different economic systems. So what are the economic systems? First we will discuss. Basically there are three types of economic systems followed by different countries of the world. Free market economy or capitalist economy. It is today the most popular system of economy followed by most of the countries. Now, what is capitalism? It is a market system in which everything is private. That means mainly capital is powerful. People have private factories, private institutions, and everything is private. Only administration and security of the country is taken by government or taken care by the government. Everything else, economic system, administration, and then business, production, all these things are done privately. People own resources privately. And what is the main motive? Main motive is earning profit. So it is a system in which market sources of demand and supply determine the price of goods and services. So prices are not set by the government. Prices are actually set by the market. So as we can see in our market also, in some goods prices are set. For example, in vegetables the prices are set by the market itself. Government does not interfere in the prices of vegetables, and consumer is free to buy whatever they can afford. That means if they have money they can purchase expensive things. If they don't have, they have to purchase cheaper things. Profit is the main guiding factor for economic decisions. That means business decisions are taken in a view of earning profit. In a market economy, those goods will be produced which are in demand, both in domestic as well as foreign markets. Similarly, that technique of production will be used which is relatively cheaper. Now, as we all know that when there is use of machines, the cost of labor decreases and overall cost of production also decreases. So what is the purpose of using machines? When you are using machines, it will reduce the labor cost and cost of production will also decrease. So mainly in case of capitalism, machineries, that means capital intensive way of manufacturing is followed, and people are able to buy on the basis of their purchasing power. Goods are distributed among the people on the basis of ability to buy. That means whoever has good income can purchase expensive things, and those who have less income, they are deprived of many goods and services, they cannot buy them. So any commodity which does not have demand is not produced. And at the time of our independence, such type of system was not appealed by our first prime minister and that time leaders also, who were planning to adopt one type of system in 1947 just after independence. So majority of the leaders wanted that we should have other type of economic system in which profit would not be the main guiding force, rather than producing goods at reasonable price and providing goods and services to people at reasonable price should be the main priority. So this system was not adopted. What are the merits of the system? Merit is it encourages self-interest, that means profit. So if you will work hard, in your business you will earn profit, and if you will earn profit you will work more hard for your business. That means your business will flourish. What are the demerits? Since it is the economic system in which only profit is the main motive, most of the people are working hard to earn profit, or those people who are smart enough to earn more profit are successful in a capitalist economy. Those people who are weaker, that means uneducated, untrained, they become more weak in the society because lack of education deprive them from entering into any new type of business or taking proper business decisions. And that is why there is a difference between rich and poor. The gap between the rich and poor increases in case of a capitalist economy. Second system of economy is socialist economy. In a socialist economy, everything is owned by government. That means all the factories or means of production will be owned by government. Assets will be owned by the government. All the mines and natural resources are owned by the government. Nothing is private. So, what is the main motive behind this type of system? The main motive is providing goods and services to people at a reasonable price. So, if you see that food grains are being distributed to people through PDS shops. So PDS shops are a representative of socialist system, and the general shops in which anybody can go and purchase anything if he has money, it represents a capitalist system. So in some countries, for example, erstwhile USSR, that means Russia, between 1920 till 1990 followed that type of system in which everything was government. Every school was a government school. Every shop was a PDS shop, that means ration shop. So people had no choice. Even if you are earning more, you have to buy goods from that particular PDS shop only. Even if you are rich, you cannot go to any private hospital because all the hospitals are government hospital. So whether rich or poor, everybody has to go to the same school, same hospital, all these things. So in this system, government only decides what will be produced, how will be produced. Even farming in this system is done by the government. That means collective farming is done, and all those farmers who have the land, they are paid their share of profit out of the production. So Cuba, China, they were also following this system of socialism in which government owns everything. Cuba actually is following that system in recent times also. So we can say that it is among the rarest countries who are actually following socialist economy. So most of the economic activities are administered or governed by socialist principles. That means public welfare rather than earning profit. What are the merits of this system? Since it is a centrally planned economy and everything is done by the government, so main motive is benefit of the society as a whole. That means no goods or services are too expensive. You will get the services or goods at a cheaper price. In many cases you will get them free, for example free education, free medical services, and even food grains will be provided at lower cost because social justice is the main focus of socialist economy. Now, what is the demerit? Consumer sovereignty restricted. That means you have to consume what government will offer. That means in this system you don't have a general store in which you can purchase all the things you like even if they are expensive. You have to purchase all the goods from that PDS shop or ration shop which is owned by government, and all the people, even rich or poor, everybody has to purchase from the same shop. That means they didn't have more choice. So this is the demerit, and it was also found that corruption was major problem. So in socialist economy, the people who are influential, they get their work done very easily, and those who are less influential or poor, they have a problem in case of doing their work. So in a government hospital, people who were rich, they were provided treatment earlier or before the poor people. More facilities provided to the rich people and influential people. Poor people had to wait. They did not had proper treatment. So these type of demerits were seen in this system. Actually, this can also be seen in a government hospital in our country also. So in a government hospital, ministers and influential people will get good treatment quickly, but poor people have to wait for long in a long queue, and they will not get proper treatment also. And in this system, even people did not have any right to own private property up to or beyond a certain limit. So there was a ceiling on land acquisition or purchase of land and owning of assets. So in this system, a socialist system, you cannot have much more private property, which is not liked by private businessmen because they could not accumulate more wealth or they cannot become rich beyond a certain level. And next system is, or third system is mixed economy. A mixed economy is a mixture of this system of capitalism and socialism. So they have the merits, that means merits of socialism as well as capitalism. They try to provide essential things by the government. So in India, mixed economy is followed. Our leaders at that time adopted mixed economy. So they did not adopt the socialist economy because it was very uh, extensive, or the system was not suitable for India because private property could not be owned by the people. And at that time, just after 1947, it was observed that there were already many private businessmen in India like Tatas or Birlas. So they already had property in India. They could not be deprived of owning that property, or they could not be told to surrender their property to the government. It was tough to do so. So government decided that they will also be provided opportunity to grow. At the same time, mainly the industries will be owned by the government, and government will spend more money in development of industries. In a mixed economy, they that means both the system go side by side. Essential things are taken over by the government. That means education, medical treatment, these cannot be ignored by the government. They have all these things. So in India, we will see that along with private schools and hospitals, we have government schools and hospitals in which free treatment is provided. Then along with general stores, we have PDS shops or ration shop in which food grain is provided at lower prices, because these things are essential for living. So these things are provided to the public at low prices. And other essential things like LPG gas is provided to public at a subsidized price. And other things which are of luxury, then these things are owned by the private or produced by the private businessmen, and they are sold in the open market. So whoever has money, they can purchase cars or vehicles or other luxury things. So government will not support you in buying those luxury things. So both public sector and private sector coexist. So we can observe in our country that in production of steel, we have Tata Steel in a private sector as well as Steel Authority of India in the public sector. So both are going along with each other parallelly, and government will provide or procure goods and services that normally market fails to do. That means the private businessmen are not able to do so because of several reasons, like not owning so much of assets, or they are not following that because they don't have much of profit. So sometimes we observe that in those things which private parties cannot adopt or own, for example railways are not given to the private people because one individual cannot own so much of land or track and railways individually. So it is owned by the government. So in India, railways are owned by the government. Railway facilities are provided by the government because it is essential that people should have government means of transportation in which goods could be transported at lower cost. People can also travel at cheaper tickets, cheaper price. So along with private means of transportation, railways also exist in India. So as I discussed, essential things are owned by the government, essential services are given by the government. So in case of entertainment also, we have private channels as well as we have Doordarshan and All India Radio, which is owned by the government. What are the merits? Now, since we have both the systems, people can earn profit also, and government also provides public welfare. The system provides choice to consumers. So if you are able to purchase goods from the open market, you can purchase from the open market. If you are not able to do so, you can purchase goods from the ration shop that government is providing. It also allowed the private people to own factors of production, that means accumulate wealth. So in India, you will observe that we have private companies and private individuals owning too much of wealth also. So accumulation of wealth is also allowed. Along with this, public welfare is also not ignored. And more merit, it promotes self-interest that encourages pace of growth. Self-interest means profit. So nobody is deprived of owning private asset, owning private companies. So in India, companies like Reliance Group or Tata, Birla, all these have also grown in the past years. They are owning private property, private companies are also growing, and at the same time government is also not ignoring the public. So pace of growth has been increased by the companies like Tata or Reliance because they have better management in case of private. Along with it, we have government companies also. It also facilitates direct participation by the state in the process of economic growth and enhances equality with social justice. So social justice is also provided to the people. Equality is uh, adopted by the government. So in the eyes of government, everybody is equal. Along with this, economic growth is done majorly or mainly by the entrepreneurs and businessmen who are private, who have main focus on earning profit. So fast economic growth is achieved with the help of this private businessman. Along with this, social justice is provided by the government. What are the demerit? Under public sector, enterprises are often found to emerge as breeding centers of inefficiency and corruption due to lack of accountability and efficiency. So this can be observed in case of public sector, which is government companies or government schools, government hospitals. You can observe in these government organizations that they are not working according to their efficiency. The efficiency of people working there is very low. Management is very poor. There is lack of profit. Many public sector companies are running into losses. So this was the reason why in 1991 government started shifting from a public sector dominated system to private sector dominated system. So why India adopted mixed economy? After independence, socialism appealed more to the then Prime Minister. So then Prime Minister he was Pandit Nehru, and he visited many countries just after independence, and he was fascinated by the system. Russia was growing with the 5-year plans and following socialism. But he was not in favor of the socialism in which former Soviet Union were all the factories and farms. That means farms were also owned by the government. Farmers were workers on the farm. So this type of system could not be adopted in India because farmers are not ready to give up their farms to the government. So, and no private property could be owned by the people. This was also not possible for a country like India because there is democracy. People have to choose the government in India. Whereas in case of Russia, at that time there was no democracy. People were actually appointed. In China also, Still we don't have democracy. People cannot vote for the party, or they cannot choose the government by voting. Actually the government in China is appointed by their leaders. People do not have voting right. This could not be done in India, and that is why India adopted a mixture of both capitalism as well as socialism. So mixed economy was adopted with a strong public sector. That means since private sector was not so strong, India had only some private sector companies, so they were not enough, they were not strong enough for economic growth of India, and that is why primarily government was keeping more focus on economic development by opening more and more factories, and that is why this system was adopted. So along with this, we conclude the class today. In the next class we will discuss what is Niti Aayog. Thank you.